Where?
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are ya?
Outstanding. How about yourself?
I'm great.
Excellent. Excellent. So, brother? How are you?
Gavin couldn't come because Lana's away.
Uh-huh.
So he had to drop off to the house.
Gotcha.
I like that shit.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna take that out of your way.
I was gonna say it's a little weird that I'm sitting right here and you're right there.
Well, I'm gonna present right from here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down with it.
It does. You know what? We could move it into. We could put it right in front. Yeah, we could be good. Nah, I think you're good. There you go. Yep. Little gecko.
Okay, so we're still waiting for one group magically. It's the SGA President's group. Alright, welcome back everybody, except for Painter's group, but that's okay. So, before we get started with our keynote, I just want to hear from the team lead for each group, and that could be either your team leader that had to speak off the text, or another group member. I want you to just stand up and say your name and your characteristics of a leader. Anybody want to go first? I'll go first. Okay. Any other group, what are you going to do? Lucky 79, okay? And, all right, go ahead. So, getting ready to witness a true powerhouse of inspiration and change, and I'm super excited to have him. Let's give a big IRSC welcome to Rahz Slaughter.
Have you ever felt the whispers of a label being imposed upon you before you even had the opportunity to be branding yourself? See, what I want to share with you this morning is a short story about being labeled disabled. I was labeled disabled the day I was born. As I was born into this world, the doctors, the teachers, my family, the naysayers told my mother that I wasn't going to be very much. And the reason is that my mother was 19 years old when she had me. She had just had one abortion, and she had no education, and she was struggling with her own demons. We all have demons, but the challenge my mother had to deal with was that she was being told what she wasn't going to be, what she couldn't become, and what her child was going to become. And she started to believe these thoughts. She started to believe these naysayers, and that is what her life became. Now, as I stood a young baby in this room with my mother in her arms, we could feel the energy of where is his father? Why are you here alone in this time important moment? And I could know, and we knew that at that moment, the doctors were saying, Mrs. Slaughter, your son, he's going to be disabled. We had to relocate his right leg. He's going to have some challenges in his life. Now I ask you, have you ever felt that someone tried to impose a belief on you? Has anyone ever told you that you could not become something, do something, have something in your life? See, this is a picture of me at 11 years old. I'm in a hospital in Springfield, Massachusetts. I was one of the first people in the United States to have what's called the Elizarov. That's the device on my leg right there. That device was 5 rings, 22 pins, and a crank on my leg. And what it was designed to do was to straighten my leg and lengthen it. Now, as you can see, I'm not smiling there. My friend in that picture is Bambos Chalalambos. He is a child from Greece. He was my closest friend in that moment. He was my only friend. And I share that with you because I moved 6 hours away from Utica, New York, to Massachusetts to be at this hospital so that I have an opportunity to be like all the other children. Now, what I tell you this is that that picture there is not just 1 day or 2 days. For 6 months, I had to endure pain, discomfort, and being alone. And this is where I can tell you that it changed my life because I remember a doctor telling me this was going to be my life. I was going to be in a wheelchair by the time I'm 18. I was never going to be able to run, jump, and explode like the other children would do. And he told my mother this in a room. And my mother believed him. My grandmother believed him at first. And all the people in our lives believed him. There's one person that didn't believe him. He's standing before you today. I'm walking around this auditorium because I did not believe him. As I mentioned, the doctors wanted to tell my mother I was going to be in a wheelchair by 18. I would never be able to be an athlete. I'd never be able to do the things that other people were doing. But as a high school student, I found wrestling. And I embarked on something because I had found a mentor, someone who believed in me, said, Rahz, you know what? You could be great at this sport. And he taught me, and he trained me. And I became one of the top wrestlers in New York State, winning over 100 matches in the state, going to the finals, as well as becoming a collegiate athlete. I don't share that story with you to get an applause or to impose the, oh, I'm great, or to brag. What I share with you is that I don't know any of you personally right now, but by the time we leave today, I want to know that I've given you something to believe in about yourself, that's something when you walked in these doors you didn't believe. Because the keys that I'm going to share with you changed my life, and I know that they'll change yours as well. See, there's some challenges that we all have. I don't know what your challenges are. Mine was I couldn't comprehend words. So would you say that I had a little trouble when I was in school? If you're going to read words, skip over the words, how much of the comprehension of a book would I understand? Very little. I was dyslexic, so when I looked at numbers, woo, wee, that's what it felt like. And to make even things worse, the trifecta, I had a long-term memory disabled or disorder. So that means that when I read something, it goes away. So I had to find a way for myself to take in information and work harder than most. Now you guys we're all students here at this school, which is amazing. But we all have different challenges. I don't know, I saw someone I'm in a class with recently, and I'm struggling in that class. But when you have tactics, strategies, and tools, the possibilities are infinite. Here's a picture of a puzzle. Anybody ever want to just fit in? Just want to be normal? Just want to be like everybody else? That's how I felt for most of my life. Because growing up in poverty, growing up with a mother who struggled with drugs, alcohol, abuse, I always just wanted to fit in. I didn't want anyone to see me. When I was in a class like this, where do you think I sat? All the way in the back. I didn't want my hand, I wouldn't raise my hand. I feared having to come to the board and read anything out loud because I was going to struggle. And what happens when you're young and you struggle? People chuckle. They make fun of you. And what happens to your self-esteem? It goes down, right? And my self-esteem for a long time was lower than low. It couldn't even get any lower. But what I can tell you is that when I figured out that I didn't want to be normal, I wanted to stand out, I wanted to step forward, I wanted to find my greatness, life changed. How did that happen? It happened through books. It happened through audios. It happened through seminars. It happened through finding one person who believed in me. So, I want you to think about this. Can you imagine what my life would be like today if I or my mother believed all the things that other people said about me? What would have been my destiny? Now, what would be your destiny if you believed the things that some people might be thinking, saying, uttering about you? You probably wouldn't even be here today because a lot of us, this was a big jump to get into college. How many of you, this is your first generation college student? Anyone? Absolutely, right? Awesome, congratulations. And that's a powerful step because you get the possibility to change your destiny. This is what a lot of people thought of me. I graduated high school with a 1.65 GPA. I was kicking some butt, wasn't I? Absolutely not. I majored in wrestling. That's what I did. I was there for wrestling, to wrestle, have fun, and enjoy myself because I had no map. I didn't know that education was the key to success. I had nobody to model because I didn't know. My grandmother had a second grade education. My mother dropped out of high school. My uncle dropped out of high school. Everybody was in jail. So I didn't know what to do. But my grandmother had a one-bedroom apartment on Long Island, New York. And this apartment happened to be in a very good area. So I got to go to a school. Although I didn't excel academically, I got to see what success looked like. One of my friend's dad had a Maserati. One of my friend's dad had a Lamborghini. One of my friend's dad had a 10,000 square foot house, and this was his third house. And I was like, wow, Mr. Efron, what do you do? Well, I'm a business owner. That's all he needed to say. That's all he needed to say. I'm a business owner. That changed my life. And I was at a crossroads. And this crossroads was, as I was staring out there, I could go left, and I could do what everybody thought I should do. Just do it, get disability. You can do it. You got a disability, right? You can go on the government. You could ask for handouts. You could be a victim, or you could be a victor and go on right. Going right meant having grit, developing perseverance, developing confidence. I chose to develop confidence using grit. That is why I stand before you today at the 50th Annual Leadership Conference, being able to share my story with you, but not to impress you, but to impress upon you that we all have greatness within us. None of you need any of my skills, my tactics. You already are perfect just the way you are. You already are successful just the way you are. You already have everything you need within you. You just need to align with people like Rochelle, people like in this room right here. So what I'm going to ask you is the permission to serve you this afternoon. 3 things. My style is real, raw, Rahz. All day, every day, twice on Sunday. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to candy coat it. Is that okay with you? Yes or yes? Yes. Awesome. My content is fast-paced and hitting quick. I'm from New York. I talk fast, especially when I'm excited, and I'm really excited today. So you got to listen a little bit excited. You got to listen a little faster. And help, just so you know. If you need help, make sure to get help. Ask for help. I'm going to give you an opportunity to reach out to me after. We all know we're all on social media. There's ways to touch base, listen, learn, because there's going to be a lot of content. Some of it is going to go through your head. It's like taking a drink with a fire hose today. But what I want you to know, if you need help, reach out, because that is the key. Being vulnerable is powerful. Say it with me. Being vulnerable is powerful. It is. So often, men, women, we're told that you can't be vulnerable. You can't have emotions. You can't tell people how you feel, but you can. And when you do, people will lift you up, put you on your shoulders, and help you get over the finish line. So my promise to you, you're going to get some tools, you're going to get some tactics, and you're going to get some strategies that are going to change your life. How do I know? Because it changed my life. I went from a guy who lived in a 1-bedroom roach motel with my grandmother to a man who has his best car, has the dream of my life. I live in Florida. It's paradise. I don't have to ever snuggle show again in my life. That was New York. It's horrible, right? But I can tell you that the promise is if you take the tools, the tactics, and the skills that you pick up today out this door, your school life, your career, and everything will be much better. Let's jump into it. 4 keys: mindset, discipline, confidence. I heard someone say confidence. It jumped out at, and action. The tools you're going to have, I'm going to share with you all 4 of them. But I want you to know that you don't have to fit into a box anymore. Because when you change the 6 inches between your ears, then you become powerful. It's going to give you the power to step out and go outside of society's norms so that you don't have to fit in. Anybody want to fit in? No. Fitting in means that you're just conforming to society, letting everybody tell you what you need to do, who you could become. I don't know what your dreams are. I don't know what you hope to become. But what I can tell you is that if you decide today to be intentional about them, you can manifest them and make it happen. That's what our presentation is all about today, taking action. Here are your 4 keys. So what is grit? What is grit? This whole theme, grit, we hear it all the time. Grit is something that you put into cement and it helps everything. It binds it together. You can be gritty, right? But do we really know what it looks like, what it feels like? Well, I want to share with you a quick story. Anybody know who this gentleman is? Oh, yeah. We are the ball guys know. David Goggins. David Goggins is someone that I find, he is one of my mentors. He is someone that inspires me. He is someone taken my mindset and said, you know what, Rahz? You're thinking too small. Get out of that candy jar and make sure that you can create something bigger. And that's why I'm here today. So this man he became a Navy SEAL. 300 pounds, 90 days, he had to lose 100 pounds because they said, you know what, you're too fat to even try out for the Navy SEALs. Not to mention he was an African-American who couldn't swim, and the Navy SEALs, the key is jumping in water and saving people. And he believed that he couldn't swim. So did I, until I read his book. Now I do. I swim like a fish, right? But I want you to fast forward. This is him. He's the toughest man in the world. He does ultra marathons. He's now one of those crazy fire jumpers, jumping out of helicopters, landing and cleaning up the world. But I want you to know his story before that, the reason I share it was very similar to mine. He lived in upstate New York, Buffalo. His dad beat his mother. His dad had multiple women. His dad beat his brother and him. He was bullied. He had racism consistently every day when he went to school. You're this, calling him all those names that we all know. And then he tried to fight back, and then he got expelled. Then he had learning challenges. He exemplifies what grit is. It's overcoming obstacles and turning those obstacles into opportunity. Now, I share that with you because it's a visual. But this is his book, Can't Hurt Me. Anybody ever see that book? One of my favorite books, highly, highly recommended. If you're dealing with anything in your mind and you need to overcome some of those challenges, his method is not for the lighthearted, I tell you. It's real, and it's the same one that I believe in. I don't believe that we should be victims. I don't believe that it's excuses. I think that it's just an excuse is just an opportunity for you to buy your own lie. And so often, people want to buy their own lies. You guys remember this guy? Only difference in this picture is what? Why am I smiling? Pretty girl sitting next to me. Right? That's my bed there. I had a bunch of teddy bears and things on it. But the difference is, the reason I share this with you is that there were many nights that I laid on this bed and I cried myself to sleep. And I cried so much that my pillow, when I woke up, was soaked. My body was hurting. Every time they took that crank to straighten this leg, it hurt. I could feel it from my ankle to my hip. And as you can see, I limp, right? 3.5-inch difference between my right and my left leg. But what I can tell you is that every day, every crank, every little bit of pain, there was a little bit of hope that I was going to be normal. Until that doctor told my mother that the surgery did not work. And that day was very difficult. We're in his office. He tells my mother, you know what? It was a success. Your son's leg is straight. All you got to do is come back for 6 more months, and we're going to take that leg now and lengthen it. And I'm sitting there with a big grin, and I'm like, yes, it worked. And then I say, and I got to give you guys a visual. 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes, strong jaw structure. He's a beautiful man. And I looked up at him, I said, Doc, how's my leg going to stay straight? He looks back down at me, says, you're going to wear a brace the rest of your life. I look up at him. A brace? The rest of my life? But Doc, you said you were going to fix me. I'm not fixed. I didn't come in here with a brace, but you're saying I'm going to have to live with one for the rest of my life. That day was a pinnacle moment for me. I was 12 years old at that time, and I could remember like it was today. It was a moment that I defined myself. I called my grandmother, Collect, because we didn't really have access to phones. I called her and I said, Grandma, they said that I'm going to have a brace the rest of my life. The voice that came back on that phone, the one I tell you that had a 2nd grade education but who was wise beyond her years, she said, baby, you were born this way. You don't have to wear a brace. You don't have to have any more surgeries ever again. Come see me. I took 2 weeks. We went to Long Island, and I've never let any doctor cut me, touch me ever again, because the power of God was in me. You remember those people who said I wouldn't be able to run, jump, and do the things that everybody else did? That's me under a 335-pound bar. Single leg deadlift. Actually, that's a squat, excuse me. I deadlift 325. But what I want you to know is that, again, we can do things when we change our thinking, right? That's me 2 weeks out before my bodybuilding show. The show that they said, you can't do a bodybuilding show. You could do a disabled bodybuilding show. I said, a disabled? I didn't even know they had those. All I knew is that I signed up, and I'm going. And I'm going to compete. My first show in New York City, I took 2nd place in my division. They said that, you know what? You have no business degree. You have no money. What do you know about opening a gym? And you're going to open it in Locust Valley? Locust Valley is this little tiny town on Long Island. Nobody would know where it is. And I said, no, I'm going to. And I'm going to open it up in a box. And I did. It's grit. David's story, my story, they're not any different than your stories. I don't know what your story is, but if you have guts, resilience, initiative, and tenacity, you can achieve any goal you set. And that starts with this college, graduating, doing your best, kicking some butt. I was going to say something else. Here we go. So I want you to realize grit is just persistence. It's persistence to push forward no matter what. If there's a wall in front of you, you're going through it, you're going over it, or you're going to find a way around it, but you're going to stay persistent. Are you ready for tip number 1? Yes. Are you ready for success tip number 1? Yes. Awesome. So here's what I want you to know. What the mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. What the mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. Beliefs. I'm going to share with you a quick framework from my book called the BAS method. B is for beliefs. Where did you get your beliefs from? The beliefs that you could come to college, the beliefs that you could be successful, the beliefs that you're enough or not enough. See, I want you to think about that because those beliefs are programming you to do the things you need to do each and every day. And a lot of times we don't even know where our beliefs came from. Your thoughts are things. Say it with me. Thoughts are things. Because your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your emotions lead to your actions lead to your results. So if you want to change your results, you have to change your what? Absolutely, you have to change your thoughts, your daily thoughts. When you woke up this morning, how many of you wanted to hit that snooze and go, I don't want to go listen to some guy I've never heard of, right? But you're here, yes. I love the honesty, you're here. That means that you took some action that long before the emotion got over you. So often, we let our thoughts dictate our actions. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like going to school today. I don't feel. When my son says he doesn't feel, I don't even hear it. I got blocked on. Boop! Negative. It's about doing. The A stands for attitude. B for belief, A for attitude. You have to have an attitude of gratitude. You have to have an attitude of positivity. How often have you met someone and you go, how's your day? Yes.
Great.
I love that. How's your day? What's the difference there? Ask me how my day was. Fantastic, amazing. Thank you so much. No, that is not sarcasm. That is how I wake up. Honey, is that how I wake up? See, it's positivity. If you understand that when you can program yourself, even when I feel like crap, and someone says, how's your day at the bagel store or getting coffee or at Starbucks, right? Yeah. I'm still like, yeah, I'm great. Give me that coffee. Need that caffeine, right? So the key here is that your attitude will dictate your direction in life. If you want to change your results, you have to change how you show up with your actions. And the last one is self-talk. What are you saying to yourself every single day when you wake up? Oh, I'm so tired. I got to go to IRSC to class. I don't want to go to math. How do you think you're going to show up and perform if that's the case? So I want you guys to know a little secret. This morning, when I got out of bed, my back hurt, my knee was hurting, my right toe hurt, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I was not going to listen to the voices in my head that was telling me that I was in pain because I knew I had something bigger to do today. I knew that I had some people to share a story with, to empower, inspire, and motivate so that they can make the best versions of themselves. So I pushed the negative self-talk out, and I developed a way to say, hey, boom, move on. A Tale of Two Wolves. I'm going to share a quick story because this is one that's very impactful and is about an old Cherokee Indian. The reason I love this story is that my grandmother was Blackfoot and Cherokee Indian, and so it brings it home for me. But A Tale of Two Wolves. An old Cherokee grandfather was walking through the woods with his grandson, and he wanted to teach him a little bit about life. And so he sits down at the campfire, and the campfire's crackling. It's a beautiful full moon, and he decides to tell, he says, grandson, there's two wolves inside of you, and each of these wolves are at battle, and they're battling for your mind. They're battling for your soul. And here's what I want you to know. There's one that's negative, and that one is always going to try to pull you down. It's going to be pessimistic. It's going to want you to have an ego. It's going to want you to have arrogance. It's going to want you to push people and say negative things about people and go on social media and just gaslight people and do all this kind of crazy things. But on the other side, there's another one, and he's positive, and he's smiling, and he's feeling good, and he's confident, and he believes in serenity, and he believes in being joyful. And the little boy is listening to his grandfather, and as he's thinking and pondering, he looks up at him, and he says, grandfather, which one wins the battle? And the old Cherokee looks down at his grandson, and he goes, grandson, the wolf that's going to win the battle is the one you feed. It's the one you feed. So I have a question for you. Which wolf are you feeding? Which wolf are you feeding each and every day? When times get tough, when life hits you in the face, Which wolf do you listen to? See, I'm not perfect. I would never say. There's times where I'm crying. I've had some setbacks that led to some comebacks. COVID was one of those times for me and probably many of us in this room. But what gets us here is grit, resiliency, persistence. So I want you to recall a time that you allowed the negative wolf to impose on your beliefs. Think about that, because right then I want you to encapsulate that moment and remember the next time you experience that, you have the power to get rid of it. And I'm going to share with you a little cool exercise. It's called snap it, release it, replace it. All you have to do is have a rubber band. This is a neuro-linguistic programming technique. You'll see throughout this presentation, I'm going to give you some tools, some tactics, some strategies that you can take out of here, not just listen to me, so we're not just talking. We're having a human experience. So you put on a rubber band, and if you know that you're prone to having negativity, which it's okay because at times we all feel that way, you put this rubber band on, you snap it. Every time you feel that discomfort, that pain, I want you to think, how can I reframe that negative belief into a positive belief? I can. I'm tired, I'm feeling amazing. You snap it, boom. You do this for a week, and after a week, you most likely won't have to snap it anymore because you're going to remove those negative beliefs. You're going to reframe them with a positive and empowering one, and most importantly, you're going to release it to the wild. Now, I do have one caveat. If there's someone in your home that's extremely negative, like a negative wolf, and you can't get rid of them, you have to let them know. Be real, be raw. Hey, you're not serving me. I can't have this type of energy. I got bigger things to do with my life. See, I want to empower and inspire you to step up for yourself today. Transition. So we move from mindset. I want you guys to remember that mindset is powerful. The second step is discipline. It's very simple. You got to master your mindset. The 6 inches between your ears are going to dictate your success or failure. Thoughts, things, actions, results, all through lead to your outcome. So we're going to go into key number 2. Key number 2, in discipline, your goals find direction. How many of you guys set goals? Goals, okay. Some, we don't see all the hands up. So if you don't set goals, who's driving your bus of success? When you think about that. If you're not dictating your life, who is? Are you just going through life aimlessly wondering how you're going to arrive someday? That's what happens to a lot of people. I speak to a lot of students. I coach a lot of parents. And I ask them, what's your goal for your son's life, your daughter's life? I don't know. Well, neither do they. If you waste time, you don't have discipline. So what I want to share with you is a clock. We all see those. We have them on our wrists. Most of us don't. We have a phone. But a clock we're going to use as an analogy for life. The face of the clock is your life. It's where you're going. It's what you're doing every day. Now, we know there's 3 hands. There's the hour hand. That's your long-term goals, right? The minute hand, that's your actions. The second hand, that is your discipline. That is your choices, your decisions. Now, what I want you to know is that if we're looking at this clock and it's working together in harmony, wow, we're walking straight, we're going someplace. We have goals that are going to be successful. But what I want you guys to realize, that if we're not working in unity with this clock, what's going to happen is that you're going to have dysfunction. You're going to have unease, right? You're not going to be able to do the things you want to do in life. You're going to be struggling in your classes. So how many of you have wasted some time this semester? I heard someone say they were playing Mario Kart. Right? Video games, social media. We all waste a little bit of time, right? But what I want you guys to think of is you got to start guarding your time. So how in your life can you take this analogy, the hours, the minutes, the second hand, and implement it into your life so that you can change your results? We have a couple more, about 6, 7 weeks left in the semester. You still have the ability to change your outcome, but you're going to have to do something different. And that's what I want to share with you. You have 2 options, A and B. Now, if you lack discipline, you could do what I did, and I wrote it on my arm. Because I wanted to be reminded every single day that that's what I needed to be successful. I did not want to forget it. But you can also create a system or find a system. Save yourself time, energy, and money. One of the systems that I love is the Google Calendar. The Google Calendar is great because it allows me to do something called time blocking. I put everything in there. And I know there are people in my life, a good friend of mine, my wife here, sometimes it's a little annoying to them. They're like, oh, Rahz, I'm not on your calendar. You're not, so I don't have time. Right? Because I'm not going to allow someone else's reality emergencies to become mine. So you block out the times, the things you want. Prioritize your schoolwork. I struggle in math. Now that's a thing, now we should reframe that, right? I'm currently getting better in math because I'm working harder. Yes or yes? I wanted to say that so that you could hear that everybody at times, if we're not guarding our words, which turn into our emotions, we can speak out our reality. Get a system for yourself. It's going to allow you to really get your life in line. So we're going to transition. We went from mindset to discipline to confidence. That's where we're going. We're at key number 3. And this is crucial right here. Believe in you and let your strengths break through. Believe in you and let your strengths break through. See, if you want to create breakthroughs in life, you have to believe in you first. No one else is going to believe that you can do it. Now, I will say that I'm looking around the room, and my favorite color is red. It's a power color. Boom, 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 right? Now, here's why I point that out. I changed and started wearing red a lot because it was the brand, but also because it was that thing that I started to believe in myself. And then some people told me I shouldn't. So I did, right? Here we go. This is a great picture. What is confidence? See, a lot of people believe confidence is, dude, I'm the shit. I'm him. I'm the one, right? Yeah, that's a little. But what I want you guys to realize is that that's not confidence. Confidence isn't bravado. It isn't arrogance. It isn't ego edging God out. Confidence is a belief in oneself that you know that you could achieve anything in life that you set your mind to. Now, here are my 7 rules for confidence. If I had more time, I'd share them all with you, but we're only going to work on number 1. Number 1 is you have to decide to be intentional about being confident. How? You have to decide to be confident. I wasn't always confident. How could I have been? You saw those pictures. You saw my beginning. Think that I woke up and said, yes, I'm going to take over the world. No way. But you develop it. Some people are born with it, and others have to learn it. And that's what we need to do. So I wanted to be a speaker. And I remember telling someone I was going to be a speaker, and they said, but Rahz, you can't say Massachusetts. I was like, yeah, you're right. I fumble over words. Sometimes I struggle pronunciating things. I said, but I'm going to be a speaker, and I'm not going to allow you to stop me. This was one of my first events ever, and it was called the Believe Symposium. And I remember this because I was able to, you're supposed to stay black. I was able to finally get on stage in front of the audience that I wanted to impact. It was students. It was youth. And the reason I wanted to impact them is because I knew that I was always looking for my North Star. I was always looking for a mentor. I was always looking for someone to tell me how to be a man because I didn't have anyone in my life to show me that. So I wanted to be that light. I wanted to be that North Star for someone. Now, I don't know who in this room will feel this message today, but someone in this room will take my message and they will change their life. How do I know that? I was sitting in a diner, feeling really crappy, eating some $4 French fries, because that's all the money I had, with a bunch of ketchup on the side. And a man sat next to me, and he started talking to me. And he goes into his briefcase, and he pulls out a book, and he gives me this book. And I look at this man, and I'm thinking, I can't buy your book, so I don't know why you're trying to sell me this book. And it was The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. If you're taking notes, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Now, why did that book mean so much to me? Because that was the first book I read, completed, and that's how I created this presentation that I delivered on the stage. But as you can see, I've gone on to speak in many other locations and places. This was one of my dreams. I remember watching Denzel Washington and all of his brilliance and the way he articulated his words. And he was on stage at a big conference for the Boys and Girls Club. And I took a picture and I put it on my wall. Bam! And I looked at that picture every single day. And earlier this year, I got to don that stage. And the reason I tell you that is that you don't know where the seed of greatness will be set, but you have to wake up every single day, nurture it, give it water, give it food, believe in yourself. That's how you get confident. It's a vision, it's a mission. How many of you have a vision or a mission for your life? My mission is to inspire 1 million teens to create the best version of themselves. I say teens, but young adults. Thank you very much for helping me reach that mission today, because I get to speak to you and share a little insight. But the key to being confident is being your own cheerleader. 5 minutes before you all walk back in this room, I took a walk and I went into the restroom and I went like this. Change your state, change your state, change your state. You're gonna inspire and motivate the world. You are the man, boom! And then, I know there was someone in the stall that thought I was crazy. But hopefully they're not here and I didn't scare them. But what I want you to know is that I was being my own cheerleader. I changed my state by changing my physiology, right? I changed my mind by rewiring the words. It's very easy for us to come in and, no, I needed to be ready. I needed to be sharp. I changed by being my own cheerleader. So have you ever allowed someone else's opinion to be yours? Probably have, right? What I want you guys to know is that if you buy someone else's opinion, you're buying their lifestyle. If you buy someone else's opinion, you're buying their lifestyle. So if there's someone that you're hanging around, called crabs in a barrel, right? There's someone you're hanging around and they're not so positive. They're not doing things that are going to be conducive to your goals. Maybe they're drinking every day. Maybe they're staying up late. Maybe they're just not taking care of themselves. If you hang around too many of them people, you know what's going to happen? You're going to become one of them. So you got to change that. So here's the technique. Tell me if you've ever, I love that picture there. It's called the power pose. A couple years ago, I forget what she is, a sociologist, something, really cool TED Talk, Amy Cuddy came up with something called the power pose. This is her. 30 seconds in the mirror. Anybody remember that? Where'd you see it? Grey's Anatomy, awesome. Maybe this morning. Anybody? This morning, I started this talk by standing right in front of you, right? I popped my hands on my hips. I looked forward. I changed my shoulders. Okay. Thank you for that feedback, because I might not use that again then. But what I want you to know is the power pose, what it does is it changes the chemistry in your brain, neurologically. And what's going to happen is you start to feel better. You start to feel yourself. You start to feel strong. It allows you to center yourself. So I was centering myself using that pose. Now, when I thought about doing it, I go, wow, they're going to think I'm weird. I wanted to do it for a full minute, but then I was like, nah, can't test that. We'll try that later. But what I want you guys to know is that, have you ever heard fake it till you make it? Anybody believe that? Okay, so we're going to reframe that. Faking it till you make it. If you fake it, who else knows that you're faking? You. If you fake it, who else knows? You do. And what happens is you know you're faking it, so do you show up authentic? Do you show up powerful? Do you show up inspired? Imagine if I came in here today and I wanted to be like Les Brown. Hello, everybody. My name is Rahz Slaughter. Would you buy my message? You'd be like, this guy is performing. He's trying to be something he's not. So I don't want you to fake anything. Be authentic. Be real. Be raw. Be you. Big takeaway. Confidence is a skill you learn with the last key, of course, and I guarantee you'll become confident. That last key is the key point that's going to bring this all home for everybody. 3 keys. We had, first key was mindset. Second key was discipline. Third key was confidence. The fourth key is action. Let's bring it home. So action is the key. So often we know that we don't get moving. And I want you guys to really think about this key because it's a powerful little mind shift. This $20 bill here. Who wants it? How many of you guys wanted that $20 bill? Raise your hand. How many people raised their hand? How many people took any action and got off their butts? 2. Well, you were really far. I love that. But the key here is that I want you to know that if you want to do something, you're going to have to take some new actions. Because the thinking that got you to where you are can't get you to where you want to be. The thoughts that got you where you are won't take you to that next stop in success. She got up. That's why she has $20 more in her pocket right now. How many times, how many times have you sat on the couch? Have you sat in the car, metaphorically, and not taken action on something that you know you should have? Often, we all have done that, right? Will we do that leaving this room ever again? Absolutely not. So here's what I want you guys to think. Action leads to achievement. Action leads to what? Achievement. Action leads to achievement. Dreams don't work unless you do. So you can say, I want to do this. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a business owner. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to be. But if you don't take action, what's going to happen is nothing. You're going to just be the same person you were yesterday, because that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same things over and over and over, expecting a different result. Love it. Who knows who this is? Wayne Gretzky. I don't know very much about hockey at all. I'm black. But what I will tell you is that he had a great quote. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I promise you, if you start taking some shots, you're going to start failing, but you're going to fail forward. And when you fail forward, you're going to learn. And when you learn, you're going to be able to take that information in and then be able to adapt. Action creates real excellence. Action creates real excellence. Why do I like affirmations? Why do I like words like this? It allows us to set into that long-term memory. Remember when I said I struggle with memorizing? That's why I don't have a lot of information on my slides. I speak from my heart, because if I tried to read, instantly it would shut the brain down. But action creates real excellence. So if you have a test of something you struggle with, try to find a mnemonic. Try to find something way of rhyming so it sets into your long-term memory. This is a picture of my first gym. 3 clients there. What a beautiful white wall. 3 TRX, if you know, is just suspension training. Now, the reason I share with you this picture is that I had no money. I had $300 in my bank account. I had no family to go, hey, you know what? I'm starting a business. Do you believe in me? Can I borrow some money? I had no one. So I had to just believe. And I got the lease. I signed it. And I remember signing it, shaking my hand. Oh, my God, I never signed a lease before. I don't know. And it was for 3 years. And I didn't have the first month rent, but I had belief. And then a bunch of people said, you're not going to be able to do this. But then I turned it into this, by consistently showing up, by consistently taking action, by consistently believing in myself, by consistently being persistent. Then I moved to Florida in 2018. And I decided, you know what? Let's take this show on the road, because I wanted some sunshine like all of you. And I opened a gym right in Palm City. 30 days, I was fully booked. That's how I met my best friend, Raul Calderon. His wife was one of my first clients. So how did I do that? Here is the tactical way that you can take the information that I just shared with you about my gyms. Number 1, you got to consistently keep learning. Learning. What do I mean by learning? There's a word that I'm going to share with you, a philosophy, a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen. Anyone ever heard of Kaizen? Constantly and always improving. It's essential to your success. If you want to improve and learn, you got to keep adapting. That's the point number 2. Look at that. That's a beautiful picture. Why? Because if you don't adapt, what will happen is you'll become extinct. And that's what happened with me a little in my business. COVID happened, things changed, and I had to learn, adapt, and evolve. Because if I didn't evolve, I would have become a dinosaur. I would have become a dinosaur in the business world. I would have become a dinosaur to my family, because I would have let everyone down. So when COVID happened on March 20th of 2020, I got a call from my business partner. And he says, Rahz, and I could hear his voice. It was really low, shaky. The governor has told us we have to shut down. We're going into shutdown. 3 gyms, all my income. That was my identity. Boom, gone. How long? We don't know. Anybody ever had a pandemic? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a strand of SARS to 19, all of that. I believed, I was positive, it's gonna be okay. 3 years later, it's still not okay. Right? But I'm still positive about it. The reason I share that with you is that you have to overcome. You have to evolve. Learn, adapt, and evolve. I learned, I adapted, I changed my business model. I knew what I was great at. I knew who I was as a person. I could self-reflect and say I had value to the marketplace. So what I want you guys to think, and I heard someone talking business outside, and then my ears perked up. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. But what I want you guys to think about is that your skills you have, find a way that you can become more valuable to the marketplace. The marketplace is out there. You don't need to it doesn't matter what your grades are, what your degrees are. You got to work on the skills of you. The skills of you. Communication. If you stay for the breakout session, now this is where I plug a little bit. Boom. If you stay for the breakout session, we're going to talk about communication. Because the art of communication and selling oneself is the key to success. That is how you excel, but that's also how you make yourself more marketable in the marketplace. We're at the finish line. Grit. That is the theme. Have you guys heard some good stories about grit? Yes or yes? Yes. Do you feel that you know a little bit more than you did when you walked through the door about grit? Yes or yes? Yes. Awesome. What are the 4 keys? Mindset, discipline, confidence, action.
Mindset, discipline, confidence, action.
Boom! Here we go. So, absolutely. This story is in my book. And the reason that this story is in my book, Student Success Secrets, keep going. How do we do that? There we go. The key is that I love Bethany's story. She exemplified grit. She loved to surf. She loved to do something that she loved doing. Her family did it. They did it often. She was like a fish in the water. And if you read the book, seen the movie, you know the story. She's out having an amazing day. And then out of nowhere, a tiger shark comes up and changes her life. Takes her left arm clear off and part of the board. Fast forward, her dad runs out, they pull her out of the water, he rips his shirt off, he creates a turnip. He ties it, she loses so much blood, she's nearly dead. She gets to the hospital, and what do you think the first thing this 10-year-old girl says to the doctor? Will I surf again? Will I surf again? Is there anything in your life that you're that passionate, obsessed about? I want you to think about that. Find that thing. That's going to give you the grit you need to succeed. Find that thing that you know that you're going to wake up every day excited to do. It's going to keep you up late and get you up early. That's for me. That's being here with you. But this story continues. See, Bethany, 30 days later, after having her arm bitten off by a tiger shark, some of us would never go in the water again. No, negative, right? No, she was back in the water surfing. A couple more months, she was back competing. A couple more months, she was back winning. Why? Because she exemplified grit. She exemplified the belief in herself. She took the 4 keys. Mindset, my beliefs, I am not going to let the doctors tell me what I can and can't do. My attitude, positive. My confidence, I'm getting back on that board. They gave her a board that was actually fixed for her. She threw that board away very shortly and got back on her short board. I only know that because I watched the movie and read the book. I don't know what a short board or long board is. Anybody else surfers in here? No? Good. Then I don't have to look like I know anything. But what I want you guys to think about is knowledge, right? See, here's what I want you to think. Knowledge on ice is a waste of time. Did you catch that? Knowledge on ice is a waste of time. Ignorance on fire is what pays the bills. Ignorance on fire. That's point number 4, taking action. See, if you decide to take action, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the experience. You want to start a business? Do it. You want to be an actress, actor? Do it. You want to go and do something amazing? Write the goal down. Find someone who's done what you do or want to do. Ask them questions, get help. Match and mirror their behaviors. Match and mirror their behaviors. One of my mentors is David Goggins. Another one is Anthony Robbins. Anybody ever heard of Anthony Robbins? Big 10-foot guy, right? Motivator. He's not a motivator. He doesn't like that. But what I'll share with you, he's changed my life as well. Because I learned some things from him by going to his seminars, by paying him a shitload of money. Excuse me again. It happens. We're in college. It's not like you ain't never heard it before, right? And what I want you guys to realize is that I learned one key thing from him: match and mirroring. So this man stands on stages for 40, 50 hours a week with amazing energy. And I go, how does he do that? So I read up. He doesn't eat when he speaks. So I didn't have anything to eat this morning. Why? Because it's going to slow down the way my brain works. And I need to be clear to connect with each and every one of you. All I had was tea and some honey to make sure that my throat stays moist. Why am I sharing that story? Match and mirroring. Find someone who's doing what you want to do, that has the life that you want to have, and do what they do consistently. Tony shows up every single day. He does what he does. He's one of the greatest speakers, motivators, products in the world. And my goal is to motivate and inspire a million teens. I'm modeling my mentor. Here's a gentleman. He's sitting, he's studying. That's what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to work harder on yourself than you do on anything else in your life. Harder on yourself than anything you do in your life. Why did I repeat that? Because I want you to understand that the 6 inches between your ears is where the success happens, right? That's this entire presentation. My promise to you, you're going to pick up a few tools. You're going to pick up a few tactics. You're going to pick up a few strategies. Did I fulfill on my promise, yes or yes? Yes. Did I really? Yes. Thank you very much. Wanted to make sure of that. I'm going to leave you with this. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Helen Keller. Anyone ever hear that quote? What she really meant by that is that she wants you to understand that she was deaf, dumb, and blind is what they told her. But they thought that she wasn't going to be anything. She wasn't going to do anything. She went on to change the world because she didn't believe them. If you want your life to be a daring adventure, be willing to be persistent. Be willing to work on yourself harder than you do anything else in your life. Be willing to keep moving forward, because that is the only way you're going to be successful. Embrace challenges. Harness the power of grit, and you can be great.